Hey everybody, this is Mark, maakudesuyo, and welcome to SLOG number 4, where I'm going to be talking about the Avengers Endgame. That's right. As much as I'd like to call this a review, it's more of like a reaction, in my opinion, on what I thought about the movie, which is a review, really. So I'm not really like a huge Marvel fan, not really a huge comics book fan. So I didn't get to watch a lot of the Marvel movies, but I did watch the first Iron Man, watched Thor, Captain America, of course Avengers Infinity War, which is huge, and my absolute favorite, which is Black Panther. I'm totally lowering my credibility right now by telling you that I'm not a huge comics book fan, so I don't know why you're still staying here watching this. I'm going to tell you what I thought about it anyways. So in general, the reason why I don't watch a lot of the superhero movies and I don't really anticipate them so much and I have such low expectations is because they're pretty predictable. You can kind of tell what's going to happen. Like there's the hero and then there's some bad guy. And sometimes they have more than one bad guy. They'll have like a main bad guy and like one or two other bad guys. And then maybe there's a sidekick to the hero. But basically it's good versus evil, and good always wins. The superhero will always win. You think they're gonna die? Nope, they're gonna win. So it's kind of predictable. I guess that was one of the big twists in Infinity War. Thanos snapped and half of the people are gone, including the superheroes. So a lot of people were like, oh no, my superhero's dead. But then, you know, like we expect. By the way, spoilers. Because if you're on this, watching this, you must have seen it. If you haven't seen it, I'm sorry. I mean, I have to say spoilers, otherwise I can't talk about anything. Right, so in Avengers Endgame, they come back. Just like I predicted, they're gonna somehow bring them back. Because how do you continue, you know, making other movies and stuff? And also, you gotta get that gratification that the audience wants. The audience doesn't want to keep crying about like how their heroes died. I was actually just watching this review video on YouTube about the casual moviegoer, which kind of where I fall into, but then sort of a little bit above that because I understand a little bit more about movies, I'd say, and the human condition and all these analyses and metaphors and whatnot. I'm totally rambling. But he was mentioning that most people would prefer Avengers Infinity War because there's more action. Well, in fact, that was the reason why I didn't really find Infinity War that interesting. For me, it was a huge flustercluck of just a bunch of superheroes and a bunch of bad guys just going blah, and then it's always cutting to somebody and it's like blah, 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 and it's just poof, chaos and it explodes. Lots of action, and if you like that, awesome. But for me, who is looking for storytelling, I'm just like, okay, it's not memorable. But in Avengers Endgame, it's like completely flipped because the pacing was a lot slower. They take their time to tell the stories of, well, what would it be like if you just lost all these people that you love? And there's like these support groups, and everybody's like depressed and all that, and it takes years to even try to move on. And I think that's one of the big themes in here is like, how do you move on? Like when there is an end, how do you move on? Because in a sense there is no end. So yeah, overall, in comparison to Infinity War and to a bunch of the other Marvel movies that I watched, I really like Endgame because it's like this huge payoff movie that if you've been following along, especially if you're a huge Marvel fan, you would absolutely love this movie for sure. Even I, who are not, I don't know English anymore, I'm not really like a super huge Marvel fan, I really enjoyed the movie. I greatly enjoyed how dynamic I felt the characters' arcs were in this movie. It's like they're completely different people from the other movies that I've seen with those heroes in it. And so I think if you take just this movie, let's say you've only seen Infinity War, or maybe you're just watching this movie, because of how they took their time in the first half of the movie, I think the fight scene, the huge fight scene in the end where it's like Avengers assemble and it's like a bunch of like Thanos' lackeys, it's like you've been waiting this whole time, like 2 hours or something, to like see this huge clash. It's much more awesome compared to like, it's a 3-hour movie and like 2.5 hours of it is fighting. Like it gets boring quick. So having more of like a dramatic thing and then it becomes like action, I think is a much better choice in this case. And so I'm just gonna give you like some of the moments in those action scenes that I was like what? I don't know why this popped up first. Valkyrie with a Pegasus. I was like, damn girl, where'd you get that Pegasus? Captain America grabbing Mjolnir, right? The little harbor. And then he like spins it and it's like, I'm like, damn, Captain America's worthy. Captain America versus Captain America fight scene, that was awesome. The whole passing the Infinity Gauntlet, basically it's a football game, and man, if this was an actual football game, we better have Black Panther as the running back. Oh, also when Captain America used the lightning from, oh man, so many epic moments in those action scenes. Also, I really like the fact that it felt more like it was grounded, that there were consequences for the superheroes, because a lot of the times superheroes, they're super, so they're not really bound by the laws of physics. So a lot of the times, and this might be the appeal to people, is that you're watching something that you would never be able to do. But when you put these superheroes in a situation where they are closer to the human condition, making them more human, it makes them more relatable to us, and therefore that bond makes it easier for the filmmaker or the storyteller to like tug on our emotional strings. So when somebody dies, a superhero is not supposed to die. They're always gonna win, but then they die, it's like, oh, what? I'm crying. So the characters that die in this movie, whew, I love that somebody died. Anyways, that'll be it for this basically, because I really enjoyed Avengers Endgame, but still overall, I think one of the reasons why I really enjoyed it was because I came in there with the expectation of another superhero movie. It's gonna be like, okay, it's gonna be good, cool action scenes, okay. Never gonna catch the Easter eggs because I'm not a huge comic books fan, but whatever. It's gonna be fun and I'm gonna eat my popcorn. But because of that lower expectation, but then they gave me like this better storytelling and awesome kick-ass action scenes, I was very impressed, and I really would put this on higher on my list of superhero movies from Marvel that I watched, even though I didn't watch a lot. So that is my little review/reaction thing, slog, for today. Alright, I'll see you on the next slog. See you guys, Jenny!